What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and welcome back to another episode of the 5 Takeaways, the very first episode in the big Ange Postecoglou era. And we're going to take a look at the 3-2 loss against West Ham and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. And the first one, of course, it's Ange Ball.
Yeah, look, no surprises there. I think we obviously approached the game completely differently to how we were doing it last season. And the stats in revolving around our performance just, I think, shows how different it is. 32 shots throughout the 90 minutes, which is more than any game we had last season. 2.8 XG, only 4 shots conceded as well. 13 shots on target, which I think only one game last season we had more than 13 shots on target. And 72% possession, more than any game last season as well. And I think most impressively, we completed 685 passes, which if you look back at last season and take all our games into account, we never got more than 594 passes over a 90-minute space. So clearly, yesterday was a complete shift in direction, which was expected. But I think it was impressive how quickly he was able to implement his ideas to the team and how they were able to execute them to the level that they did.
Yeah, I think you do have to caveat that it was just a pre-season game, and the main objective of these games are kind of fitness first. And I would like to see maybe what the stats were like in the previous couple of pre-seasons in certain games as well under Antonio Conte. But no, but apart from that, I think you've got to be honest with yourself, and the signs are good. And it was great to see. It was a great watch. It's probably the Spurs game I've enjoyed most out of in the last year or so. I think it was great to see us really penning West Ham in, really dominating the possession and really creating chance after chance after chance, albeit we didn't really get on the score sheet maybe as much we would have liked, and we didn't win the game. I think we were much the better side and definitely deserved to win.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 2, and that is brilliant BISSOUMA.
Yeah, and obviously he started in the number 6 yesterday, East BISSOUMA, and there's been a bit of discussion what position he's going to take up in this new Ange system. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about whether we need number 6, and obviously this was kind of BISSOUMA's audition yesterday for that role, and I think he excelled and did exceptionally well. And we also saw glimpses of like the BISSOUMA that we bought from Brighton as well yesterday. He dictated the play for large parts. He had 50 touches during the game, 92% pass accuracy, completed 4 out of 4 of his ground duels, completed 2 tackles as well, and I thought just during the game he exuded confidence, and it was a lot more of the BISSOUMA that we thought we were getting from Brighton than we saw last season. Yeah,
and it looks as though like he's just so much more happier in a less rigid system. It lets him shine even more. I felt like he was front and central to everything we were doing in that first half. He was dictating the tempo of the game as well as being a driving force going forward as well, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And it's not just in this game where we saw like a BISSOUMA with having a new lease of life. We're seeing it on the media that the team are putting out. He just seems to be really happy to be here, to be honest, and it's great to see. Now we're hopefully going to see BISSOUMA just excel and grow and become that key figure that we all thought he would have been when we first signed him. So it's great to see. Moving on to number 3, and that is Giovanni Lo Celso shines.
Yeah, and it was a brilliant second half performance from the Argentine, who came on in the number 10 position, replacing James Maddison. And obviously there's been a lot of talk about his future and whether his kind of mind is in the game or not. Well, yesterday's performance kind of indicated that he's still either he's still fighting for his place or he's really trying hard to put himself in the shop window. But he completed 3 out of 3 long passes, 2 key passes, 90% passing actually, which is impressive considering a lot of his passes were forward. 1 tackle and 1 interception as well, and obviously got the goal which put Spurs back in the game as well with a really nice volley. And I thought throughout he was just a touch of class and a bit of quality. Whenever he was getting on the ball, he was thinking very, very quickly. And I think he did himself really proud in that 45-minute display, considering all the circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah, and obviously Lo Celso's got a really bad rap from the Tottenham Hotspur fans, ourselves included, myself included. You know, we've been very quick to judge him for the poor performances that he's put in. I mean, that social media account that was showing that corner on repeat time and time again, and also the bad attitude that he did have in the latter stage of his Spurs career. But you got to remember that he did have good moments in the Spurs shirt, especially under Jose Mourinho, where he was one of our best players in the squad at the time. And I think the game yesterday maybe kind of reminded people of the quality that he does have. And Ange spoke after the game saying, look, he's here, it's like 30 new signings, everyone's starting with a brand new new clean slate. So if Lo Celso wants to be here, he definitely has the quality to excel in that number 8 role that Ange Postecoglou likes to play. So I think, I think he could do it, but it's just a case of where his head's at and does he want to still be here and be part of this new era that we have got ourselves under Ange Postecoglou. So I think the signs are good with Ange, with Lo Celso. It is only a pre-season game against West Ham. It was only 45 minutes, so I'd like to see maybe a bigger sample size, but the signs are definitely good from that 45 minutes against West Ham. But moving on to number 4, and that is mixed debuts.
Yeah, so we had 4 debutants yesterday. We had Vicario in goal, we had Solomon on the left wing, we had Udogie at left back, and we had James Maddison in attacking mid. And it's fair to say that they definitely had a mixed time. Let's start with the good, and that was definitely, first of all, Solomon in the first half. I thought he was a constant threat down the left-hand side. I thought he was linking really well with the midfielders and with Reguilon at left back as well. Was getting to the byline, was created chances for Oli Skip, created chances for Kulusevski, forced a save out of Fabianski, and also had a really good opportunity where he could have had a penalty off Bowen, but his finish was a bit off that time. And I thought his dribbling and passing was pretty good during that period. We also had, obviously, Udogie in the second half, where I thought he was really bright, energetic, getting to the byline. I thought he really showed why we paid so much money for him, and I thought he linked up again as well with Lo Celso and with Perisic especially on the byline, and I thought those were 2 really impressive displays. Going to the bad though, Vicario, I guess, didn't have the best of debuts, albeit he didn't have too much to do, and he did make a very good save low from Bowen, but maybe for the first goal you could argue maybe he could have done better, and obviously kind of panicked for the second goal, putting the ball out for a corner, which obviously led to Spurs going 2-0 down. Obviously he'll want to improve those aspects. And Maddison, unfortunately for him, bit of an anonymous display, albeit when he did start to get involved later in the first half. I thought he grew in influence, but the half probably ended a bit early for him. But he would want to be more involved, I think, in the next showing.
Yeah, and it's kind of those weird ones in pre-season where whenever good things happen, we're just like, yeah, that's that's what we got to read on. Whenever things don't go maybe as of planned, like Maddison and Vicario, or you can say, oh well, it's just pre-season, it's just 45 minutes and he's got a lot of time to make it up. But seriously, I think that I was expecting more from Maddison, but look, it was only 45 minutes in the pre-season, so hopefully we'll see him grow over the next couple of games. We all know the quality that the guy has. In terms of the good performances, Manor Solomon definitely showed glimpses and a very strong showing in the first 45 minutes of what he could do. But I think Destiny Udogie, out of all the debutants, were the best out of the bunch, and I thought he put in a really stunning performance. And there were question marks over whether he can play in a back 4, and he kind of put those to bed after the game, saying that, well, when he first started as a professional footballer, he played in a back 4, and that was kind of his introduction to football, playing on the left back as a back 4. And I think he took to it yesterday like a duck to water, really playing that inverted role, and I'm very excited to see what comes of Destiny Udogie moving forward. But let's move on to the 5th and final takeaway, and that is different tactics, same problems.
Yeah, and as much as we could marvel at the attacking football we were playing and all the interchanges and kind of how we were penning West Ham in, unfortunately the same problems came back to bite us. So obviously Postecoglou did admit after the game that he took some of the blame for the defensive lapses, as we haven't really worked on set pieces yet, as he hasn't had that long with the team. But I think the frailties at centre back, the lack of quality in that position that has been such a problem, long-standing problem for Tottenham, was still evident yesterday, and that's really what cost probably Tottenham the win overall. I think the 2 goals were from set pieces was really a lack of organisation at the back, and I have to say the last goal as well, Sanchez caught on his heels, where I think if he was concentrating, he only had Scamacca to look at really on the pitch at that moment, and he kind of caught ball watching. Scamacca goes through and scores, and so I think it's still clear, as much as there is definitely things to be happy about, for as long as we don't get that problem sorted, it's still going to come back to haunt us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if yesterday was anything to go by, if last year was anything to go by, we need centre-backs desperately. And we know, there's no secret, and Postecoglou even said it himself, that Spurs are in the market for centre-backs, and we will be going out and getting one. So I think that when you're looking at what Ange has done so far, it's great to see us completely transform the way we play, but look, it's obvious. We need centre-backs if we're going to do anything this season, even to get into the top six. We need centre-backs. So it's a desperate situation at Tottenham Hotspur, the defence. And if we don't sort it out, then we're going to be in deep trouble this season. But I'm backing them to sort it out. So let's hope by this time, as soon as possible, really, just get some top centre-backs in. Tapsoba, Van de Ven, Tosin, whoever it may be. Just get them in, and then we can really start moving forward as a football club. So that is your 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on our takeaways. If we have missed anything out, put your separate takeaways in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.